Your soulmate opened up to their mother about you, and shockingly, she shouted, "You are my beloved child." Wait, don't scroll away, because something happened behind closed doors that your soulmate never expected. It started with a quiet conversation, but within moments, emotions rose, voices grew louder, and one sentence changed everything. Your soulmate finally opened up to their mother about you. For a long time, they had kept your name hidden. Whenever someone asked about their future, they changed the subject. Whenever your name crossed their mind, they smiled quietly but said nothing. They believed it was easier to carry everything alone. But last night, the silence finally broke. Stay till the end, because what happened next completely caught them off guard. It began with a simple question. Their mother looked at them and gently asked, "Is there someone you haven't told me about?" At first, your soulmate laughed softly and tried to avoid the conversation. They spoke about work, about responsibilities, about everyday life. But a mother's heart notices what words try to hide. She looked into their eyes and calmly said, "You're hiding something." Those words stopped them in their tracks. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. Then, almost without realizing it, your soulmate whispered your name. The room became completely still. For the first time, they spoke openly about the person who had quietly remained in their heart. They admitted how your kindness had stayed with them. How your calm presence brought peace during difficult seasons. How even after time had passed, your memory never truly faded. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting. Their mother listened without interrupting. She didn't rush to give advice. She simply watched as your soulmate spoke more honestly than ever before. They confessed their fears. They admitted the mistakes they believed had created distance. They revealed how often they wondered if they had waited too long. Then, after a long silence, their mother stood up. She looked directly at them with eyes full of emotion. And in a voice your soulmate will never forget, she said, "You are still in love with them." The words echoed through the room. Your soulmate tried to deny it. They searched for another explanation. But no explanation came. Because deep inside, they knew she was right. "Stay with me, because the biggest moment has not happened yet." Their mother took a slow breath and continued. "You can hide your feelings from the world, but you cannot hide them from someone who has watched your heart grow since you were a child." Those words broke every wall your soulmate had built. For the first time, they stopped pretending they had moved on. They stopped calling it just a memory. They stopped convincing themselves it was only the past. Instead, they admitted the truth. You still mattered. More than they had ever been willing to say aloud. My beloved child, remember this. Sometimes the people who know us best can see what we spend years trying to hide. Not because they read our minds, but because love always leaves quiet signs. And last night, those signs became impossible to ignore. Your soulmate thought they were going to have an ordinary conversation. Instead, they found themselves facing the truth they had been running from. What they don't know is that their mother's next words are about to challenge everything they believed about love, courage, and the future. And that conversation is only just beginning. My beloved child, don't skip this part, because after those words, the room fell completely silent. Your soulmate couldn't believe what they had just heard. They thought the conversation was over. But their mother wasn't finished. She looked at them with tears beginning to form in her eyes and said, "You've been carrying this weight for far too long, and it's time you stop hiding from your own heart." Those words struck deeply. Your soulmate lowered their head. For the first time, they weren't trying to defend themselves. They weren't searching for excuses. They were simply listening. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Their mother slowly sat beside them and gently asked, "When was the last time you were truly happy?" Your soulmate tried to answer. They talked about work, achievements, busy days. But before they could finish, she quietly shook her head. "No," she said. "I didn't ask when you were successful. I asked when your heart was genuinely at peace." The question left them speechless. They searched through countless memories. And every road led back to one person. You. They remembered the comfort of your conversations. The way you believed in them even when they doubted themselves. The quiet encouragement you offered without expecting anything in return. And suddenly they realized. They hadn't just lost a conversation. They had lost the feeling of being completely understood. Don't leave now. Because the biggest moment is still ahead. Seeing the tears in your soulmate's eyes, their mother gently held their hand. Then, with a voice filled with certainty, she said something that completely changed the atmosphere. "You keep saying you don't want to disturb their life, but have you ever considered that your silence may have caused more pain than your honesty ever could?" Those words echoed through the room. Your soulmate closed their eyes. Because deep inside, they knew it was true. Every message they never sent. Every truth they never spoke. Every moment fear told them to wait. It had all created a distance they never truly wanted. For the first time, they stopped blaming circumstances. They realized that fear had been making their decisions. Stay with me, because something beautiful is about to unfold. Then their mother smiled gently and said, "Real love isn't proven by how long you stay silent. It's proven by the courage to speak with honesty, even when your voice trembles." Those words brought unexpected peace. Your soulmate finally understood that waiting forever would never answer the questions living inside their heart. Only truth could do that. Only one honest conversation could. My beloved child, remember this truth. The people who genuinely care about you won't ask you to hide your heart forever. They'll encourage you to speak with kindness, listen with humility, and let your actions reflect your words. As the evening grew quieter, your soulmate whispered something they had never admitted before. "I don't want another day to pass pretending they don't mean everything to me." Their mother looked at them with a gentle smile. She could see it. The fear was still there. But for the first time, hope had become stronger. And just when your soulmate thought the conversation had finally ended, their mother stood up, looked directly into their eyes, and prepared to reveal a truth that would change the direction of their life forever. What she says next will leave your soulmate completely speechless. My beloved child, don't skip this moment, because what their mother said next left your soulmate completely speechless. They had prepared themselves for advice. They expected caution. They even expected criticism. Instead, they heard words that changed everything. Their mother looked into their eyes and softly said, "If this person has brought peace to your heart instead of pride to your ego, don't let fear convince you to walk away." The room fell silent. Your soulmate couldn't answer. Those words reached a place inside them they had been protecting for far too long. Stay till the end, because the biggest revelation is still ahead. Their mother continued. I've watched you try to move on. I've watched you pretend everything was fine. But every time someone mentioned the future, your eyes became quiet. Every time your phone lit up, part of you hoped it was them. Your soulmate lowered their head. They had never told anyone that. Yet somehow, a mother's heart had noticed every silent detail. Then she asked one simple question. When you imagine your happiest future, who's standing beside you? Without thinking, your soulmate answered. Them. The word slipped out before fear could stop it. For a moment, they covered their face with their hands. They couldn't believe they had finally spoken the truth aloud. Don't leave now, because something huge is waiting. Their mother smiled gently. Not because she was surprised, but because she had known the answer long before the question was asked. She quietly said, "Your heart answered before your mind could make another excuse." Those words changed everything. For the first time, your soulmate stopped arguing with their own feelings. They stopped calling them confusion. They stopped calling them coincidence. They accepted them for what they truly were. A genuine connection they had been too afraid to acknowledge. Then their mother stood up and walked toward the window. Without turning around, she spoke one sentence your soulmate will never forget. Don't spend your life wondering what might have happened if you had simply been honest. The silence that followed felt different. It wasn't heavy anymore. It felt hopeful. Your soulmate realized they had been waiting for certainty, when what they really needed was courage. Stay with me, because the conversation isn't over yet. They took a deep breath and whispered. What if they don't believe me anymore? Their mother turned back with calm eyes and replied. Then don't ask them to believe your words first. Give them a reason to believe your actions. That answer settled deeply in their heart. Because they finally understood that trust isn't rebuilt by emotional speeches. It's rebuilt by patience. By consistency. By showing up again and again with honesty. My beloved child, remember this truth. The strongest relationships are not built by people who never make mistakes. They are built by people who are humble enough to admit those mistakes, grow from them, and choose honesty every single day. As the conversation came to an end, your soulmate felt different. The fear hadn't completely disappeared. But it no longer controlled them. For the first time in a long while, hope was stronger than doubt. And just before leaving the room, their mother quietly called their name one last time. She smiled, and said, There's one more thing you need to know about them, something you've completely overlooked. The moment your soulmate heard those words, they stopped walking. Because deep inside, they knew the next truth might change everything they thought they understood about you. My beloved child, don't skip this part. Because the moment your soulmate turned around, they saw something they had never seen before. Their mother wasn't smiling because she was certain of the future. She was smiling because she had recognized a truth that your soulmate had been too afraid to accept. She slowly walked closer and gently said, "You've been looking at this person through the eyes of fear, not through the eyes of truth." Those words settled into the room like complete silence. Your soulmate couldn't respond. They simply stood there, listening. Stay till the end, because what she revealed next changed the way they saw you forever. She continued. Every time you talk about them, your voice becomes softer. Every time you remember them, your face changes. That doesn't happen because of guilt. It happens because your heart feels safe when it thinks about them. Your soulmate closed their eyes. For years they had mistaken that feeling for confusion. Now they finally understood. It wasn't confusion. It was peace. And peace is not something the heart easily forgets. Don't leave now, because the biggest realization is still ahead. Their mother sat beside them once more and asked, "Tell me honestly, when life became difficult, whose words did you remember?" Without even thinking, your soulmate answered, "Theirs." And when you felt like giving up, whose encouragement gave you strength? Again, the answer was the same. Theirs. Then she smiled gently and whispered, "That should tell you everything you need to know." A deep silence filled the room. For the first time, your soulmate stopped searching for complicated answers. The truth had always been simple. You had become a source of peace in their life. Not because you were perfect, but because you were genuine. Stay with me, because something beautiful is about to happen. Their mother then shared something your soulmate had never considered before. The right person doesn't only make your heart beat faster. The right person helps your heart rest. Those words stayed with them. They realized that whenever they imagined you, they didn't imagine chaos. They imagined home. A place where they could finally stop pretending. A place where they could simply be themselves. That realization brought quiet tears to their eyes. Not tears of sadness, but tears of gratitude. Because they finally understood what their heart had been trying to tell them all along. My beloved child, remember this truth. Real love is not measured by how exciting it feels for a moment. It is measured by the peace, trust, and respect it continues to build over time. The person who truly belongs in your life will never make you feel like you have to earn your worth. They will recognize it, protect it, and treasure it. As the evening came to an end, your soulmate stood up with a heart that felt lighter than it had in years. They looked at their mother and quietly said, "I think I've been afraid of losing them, because deep down, I already knew how much they truly meant to me." She gently nodded. Then, before walking away, she spoke one final sentence. "If they are truly this important to you, don't wait for another sign. Let your honesty become the sign they've been waiting for. Those words echoed in your soulmate's heart long after the conversation ended. And for the first time, they didn't feel trapped by fear. They felt ready to take the first real step toward the truth. Because sometimes, one conversation with someone who knows your heart is enough to change the direction of your entire future. My beloved child, don't skip this part, because after that conversation ended, your soulmate didn't walk away the same person. Their mother's words stayed with them every step of the way, echoing louder than any fear they had carried before. For the first time in a long while, they stopped asking themselves, "What if this doesn't work?" Instead, a new question filled their heart. What if I lose the person who has always felt like home simply because I was too afraid to be honest? That thought stopped them in their tracks. Stay till the end, because something extraordinary is about to unfold. Later that evening, they sat alone in complete silence. No television. No music. No distractions. Just their thoughts, and your name. They picked up their phone, opened your conversation, and slowly began scrolling through old messages. Every sentence reminded them of your kindness. Every memory reminded them of your patience. Even the smallest conversations now carried a meaning they had completely overlooked before. Then they whispered quietly. They were never asking for perfection, they were only asking for honesty. The realization brought tears to their eyes. Not because they wanted sympathy, but because they finally understood what they had almost lost. Don't leave now, because the biggest truth is still ahead. They remembered every moment you encouraged them when they doubted themselves. Every time you celebrated their victories without making them feel indebted. Every time you listened without interrupting. And suddenly, they realized something that shook them deeply. You had always made them feel accepted. Not because you ignored their flaws, but because you saw beyond them. That kind of love was rare. That kind of understanding couldn't be replaced. And for the first time, they admitted it without hesitation. I wasn't afraid of loving them. I was afraid of losing someone who knew the real me. Those words changed everything. The walls they had built around their heart began to fall. The excuses they had repeated for so long no longer sounded convincing. All that remained was the truth. Stay with me, because one final lesson changed their future. Just before going to bed, they remembered one last thing their mother had said before leaving the room. If this person truly brings peace into your life, don't expect them to wait forever. Go to them with honesty while you still have the opportunity. Those words echoed through the quiet night. Your soulmate closed their eyes and made a promise they had never been brave enough to make before. The next time I stand before them, I won't hide behind silence. I won't expect them to read my mind. I'll speak with honesty, listen with humility, and let my actions prove every word I say. For the first time, that promise didn't feel impossible. It felt necessary. My beloved child, remember this truth. The people who truly value your heart will never expect you to chase uncertainty forever. They will choose clarity over confusion, communication over silence, consistency over empty promises. And if someone genuinely wants to be part of your future, they won't only say it when emotions are high. They will show it every single day through their choices. As the night came to an end, your soulmate looked toward the stars and smiled. Not because every obstacle had disappeared, but because hope had returned. Hope that honesty could rebuild what fear had nearly destroyed. Hope that one sincere conversation could become the beginning of something stronger than either of you imagined. And just as they were about to fall asleep, their phone lit up unexpectedly. The screen glowed in the darkness. Your soulmate looked at it, their heart began racing. And in that very moment, they realized the next chapter of this story had already begun. My beloved child, don't scroll away now, because when your soulmate picked up the phone, they paused for several seconds before even looking at the screen. Their heart was beating faster than ever, not because they knew what would happen next, but because they had finally reached the moment they could no longer avoid. They took one slow breath, closed their eyes, and quietly whispered, "Whatever happens, I don't want fear to make another decision for me. Stay till the end, because the biggest transformation is happening inside them." As they looked at the screen, they realized something surprising. It wasn't the notification that changed them. It was the person they had become while waiting. The fear that once controlled every choice had grown weaker. The excuses that once sounded convincing no longer made sense. For the first time, they felt ready to face the truth, whatever that truth might be. They smiled softly and thought about everything their mother had shared. Every word. Every piece of wisdom. Every reminder that love is not protected by silence. It is protected by honesty. Don't skip, because this next realization changed everything. They suddenly understood that all this time they had been hoping life would somehow solve the distance between you. But real change doesn't happen by waiting. It happens when someone chooses courage over comfort. That was the lesson they had been avoiding. And now,